Hey, everybody. I am super excited as we are coming to you live from the AI Summit in New York City. And we're joined by a true expert and innovator from UiPath to talk about the future of intelligent automation and orchestration. Feiran, how are you?
Fantastic. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for joining us. Lots of excitement this week, as every week, around AI. For those who aren't familiar with UiPath, perhaps introductions to the mission and your role at the company.
Fantastic. Well, UiPath is an agentic automation company. We help customers automate end-to-end workflows using traditional automation methods as well as modern AI tools. At UiPath, I run our product strategy and our pricing strategy.
Well, that's a lot to work on these days, a lot going on. Let's start with some key definitions. How do you define agentic automation at the moment, and what are some of the key elements from traditional RPA automation approaches we've known for a decade from UiPath?
Sure. So I think first let's describe the concept of these agents. There's two types of agents in my mind. There's these sort of conversational or supervised agents, and then there's these newer autonomous or unsupervised agents. So I think when people think about agents today, most people think about conversational interfaces like chat experiences. And from that side, it's all about not just chatting and getting a response back, but actually having the conversational agent do something, right? My famous examples here is you can always ask ChatGPT how to do something, but you can't ask ChatGPT to do something. And with UiPath's conversational agents, not only can you ask how, you can actually ask it to do things such as click the screen for me, type into this box for me at a much greater scale. On the unsupervised agent side, that's all about this whole idea around having these autonomous AIs that make decisions on its own and decide what to do the next step on its own. Now, from our perspective, we believe that these types of use cases fit best in the context of an existing workflow. So think about an existing workflow that you're doing today that could be mostly automated, but still require some human decision making at certain points along the flow. How can you bring that piece out and make it an autonomous agent where the agent can go automatically do the research, investigate the situation, make a recommendation, or even go ahead and make the next decision about what to do next?
Oh, great overview. And that brings into the concept of agentic orchestration. Maybe explain that idea to the viewers and how it aligns with a broader, automation strategy.
Yeah, sure. So agentic orchestration at the end of the day is all about helping you define how to orchestrate an end-to-end process. So in the world of like these autonomous agents that I mentioned before, you might not need to define anything for them because they will go off and goal seek, as we say, and go figure out how to do something on its own. However, in other business processes, you might want to diagram out how a process should actually work and insert agents as part of those steps. And what we are doing with agentic orchestration is building a platform capability to allow you to diagram and model these processes, implement these processes and insert agents into them, manage, govern, optimize these processes over time using some of our discovery stack. And that whole thing to combine is our agentic orchestration platform.
Got it. Super exciting time. And, what role do you see in shaping this agentic future? Many of us know of UiPath from the RPA innovation over a decade, but what is your role now in this world of agents?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of energy around agents. And what I think people aren't yet realizing about these agentic technologies is at the end of the day, they still need to do something. They still need these tools in order to perform the actions that you want this agent to do. Tools such as UI automation, clicking and typing, tools such as API automation, behind the scenes, tools such as interacting with humans, and all of these capabilities are native to UiPath. So when we can bring agents out into the market, we are not only the agent, but the toolkit behind the agent. And as a consequence, I think there's a lot of opportunity for us at UiPath to, solve all these problems at once for a customer. I'd also like to add something around the importance of UI automation. I think a lot of people are looking at these modern LLMs approach to clicking and typing on a screen and thinking that, we don't need RPA in the future because we can have an LLM do that. But at the end of the day, for UI automation, there's a high degree of reliability and trust that you need in order to make it operate successfully. And that really comes from more native UI integration like we have using UiPath. The famous example we always give is, if an LLM is only looking at what's on screen and you have a drop-down box and the field you want to select is the very last field of a 50 line drop-down box, UiPath UI automation can go ahead and hit that 50th item immediately, whereas the LLM-based approach will need to go scroll, 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 scroll until it sees that item in the drop-down box before it can finally click on that, right? So it's really the marriage of LLM-based approaches where it's more dynamic and traditional approaches where it's more reliable together, even in UI automation, that will make this really shine.
Oh, super exciting. And this opens up the door to, all kinds of new enterprise workflows. How do you see the robots empowering new and innovative workflows into this sort of agentic future?
Yeah. So we're seeing a lot of excitement around using agents to do investigation in existing workflows that used to require a human for investigation. So, we like to talk about happy paths all the time in the world of automation and say, yeah, the automation will do all these things, but there's plenty of times where you could veer off the happy path and need a human just to go figure out, why did this happen? Why did this invoice not match? Why was this claim denied, et cetera, et cetera. And an agent is able to dynamically decide how to do that investigation, whether that's looking through policy documents, whether that's looking through systems, whether that's even searching the web or Googling. It has all these tools at its disposal, and it's able to dynamically do this investigation for the human so that when the human ultimately makes a decision, they have all this information at their fingertips, dynamically created.
Fantastic. And speaking of humans making decisions, in this new world of agentic automation, how do you see the balancing act between human employees and automated agents shifting? It's always shifting one way or the other. What's your outlook?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's all about reliability and trust. Can you trust your AI, or do you need a human to do the final verification? I certainly wouldn't trust an AI right now to make any determination that affects my health or security or any sort of way. So I see the role of the human is still a very important one in the future, particularly as we're learning to trust this AI. One thing that we say right now is don't give AI your passwords. You don't know what it might do in the future. But as time goes on and as trust grows, I do see that humans will become more decision makers for complex scenarios rather than investigation of research or something like that.
Fantastic. And of course, CIOs are still asking questions on what all this means for real business value and ROI. Are there certain common customer challenges you're seeing agentic automation address? And, what might those be across, different industries?
Yeah. So if I take a step back and, talk about the current state of AI experimentation out in the market, we're hearing a lot of C-levels struggle with getting past the experimentation phase. Let's just say that, right? And we're seeing patterns where, they would invest in a POC or proof of concept and have this really cool demo. But when it comes time to turn that demo into scale, you run into scaling challenges such as who's going to support this, who's going to maintain this, who's going to upgrade this. You run into challenges around data privacy and security. This sounded good in the use case in the demo, but am I really comfortable putting customer information through this AI right now? So getting to that execution side, I think, has been the challenge for many C-levels today. How I think about agentic automation, and especially our approach in making these agents a small piece of a larger workflow, is we're trying to find areas where executives would feel safe and secure letting an AI do something. Constrain that world a little bit so that there's a higher probability into getting into production, right? So that's why I keep going back to these research use cases that we're getting a lot of interest from customers on, because research is something that we're not asking the AI to make a determination. We're not throwing too much PII through the research capability. They're looking through documents, they're looking through standard operating procedures, looking through knowledge bases. These are all things that are trustable. And if we make it small enough, I think there's a higher likelihood of success and actual value attainment out of agentic technology.
Brilliant. So the other thing the C-suite are really demanding is more sort of improved decision making without layers of middle management and agility within very very complex business environments. How does agentic automation fit into those requirements as well?
Well, quite simply, in those types of requirements, agentic automation can remove some of those steps. So a lot of the decision making that's required, the reason why it's slow is because the person that needs to make the next decision or approval has to do the research and investigation about all the context and understand the situation. In some scenarios, you can completely cut that out because it's just a check in the box to make sure that it aligns with what is something, what a policy or something that you already set up. But in some cases, it could help accelerate the information retrieval for the person making that decision in order to make a decision faster. So I certainly think that agentic automation will help make organizations more agile in their decision making, as well as provide a more agile approach to developing automations. I'm going off topic a little bit, but from my teams that have been investigating agent building, they used to be RPA automation developers for our customers for production use cases. They're seeing speed increase even on the development side in order to tackle complex use cases where they're realizing they no longer have to build these super, super long nested if then else statements and rules within an automation. They can take all of that out and just give semantic text to instruct the agent. It's very cool.
Fantastic. And what are some of the capabilities, people, process, systems that companies need to get ready for to start transitioning maybe their existing RPA or automation strategies with UiPath or other vendors towards an agentic model without disruption? I mean, you want innovation, but you don't want disruption. How do they get started, and what do they need to prepare for?
Yeah, so this is a great question. This is what we've been telling customers. Every investment you're making right now into the automations that you're building are tools for future agents, because future agents still need to use those same automations as tools to go perform those actions. So none of your investment in automation is going to waste right now. If anything, it should help shape your investment into the future of automation by building out more dynamic automations that can be used as tools in more dynamic ways rather than long monolithic processes today, right? The other thing that we're suggesting to organizations is if your first entry point into AI is jumping straight into agents, that's a lot, right? Like start tackling AI through other ways, such as looking at document processing or email processing to understand, how AI works in your environment with some of these more proven technologies out to get exposure to AI. And then the final thing we're recommending to executives and organizations is when you go pick that first use case, pick something that would drive inspiration within your organization, but also pick something that you actually think will be implementable at scale. Don't make your first use case this catch-all agent that will solve end-to-end finance processing for invoices. That's a long ways away. But maybe look for an agent that handles invoice mismatch disputes or communication with a customer for more information. These are appropriately sized agents that both will give an aha moment for your organization, but also a high likelihood of being truly implementable in the near term.
Oh, great advice. And at UiPath, you guys are on the forefront. Every month, there's just a wave of new advancements and news and innovation. What can we expect to hear in the next few months? Any peek into the future at
Yeah,
UiPath?
yeah, absolutely. So, Agent Builder, our experience for building these autonomous agents, just went into private preview, but we're going to be opening up to public preview in February of next year, hoping for a spring GA for Agent Builder. Our conversational experience agent called Autopilot is already GA today, and customers can now go and get started on it for free, actually. And if you look forward to agentic orchestration as an overall capability to help you orchestrate and manage end-to-end processes and optimize them, that is also going into preview starting now in small pieces, going for an early spring release as well. So we hope to bring you an all-in-one release in the early spring, the ability to build your own agents, the ability to orchestrate end-to-end workflows, including agents, and an enhanced capability around, continuing to improve our conversational experience within all departments. All that coming out.
Well, super exciting. Well, enjoy the AI Summit. How's the buzz at the Javits Center in New York City? Looks like there's a lot going on.
There's a lot of people here already, and lots of energy in this room. It's there's a drum in the room. You can hear everything. There's people here with coffee machines giving out chocolates. It's a lot of energy. And yesterday, on the day one, it was raining like crazy outside. Everybody was crammed inside, so there's a lot of energy going on in here.
That's great to get an update. Thanks so much for taking time away from the event to share an update and insights and onwards and upwards. Thanks for the info, and thanks everyone for listening, watching, and sharing as always. Take care.
Thank you so much.